Hey, good morning, everybody. How's everyone doing? Yeah, all right. Welcome to the third annual State of Downtown Awards. I'm KHQ news anchor, nonstop local news anchor, nonstop local KHQ news anchor, Corey Howard. I want to make sure I cover all the bases there. Let's give a hand to Spokane Tyco there, everybody. An energetic start to the morning for sure. I think I need to get them at my house at like 7 a.m. to help me wake up my kids, because that would be very cool. But they have a lot of gigs, actually. You can follow them around. They recently did the Asian Native American Pacific Islander Heritage Festival that kicked off Expo 74. And if you're listening to them and you say, I want to follow them around like the Grateful Dead, well, follow their social media page on Facebook. You can search Spokane Tyco and find out where they're going to be playing next. Now, we do have a great program for you today. Before we get to that, we've got a little fun game, I guess you could say. Everyone take out your phone, right? That was demonstrative. You take it out. And so you look at the screens here, and then we're all having fun, but if you want to share the conversation, share what's happening in here outside of this room, you can take some pictures and just use the hashtag SpokaneIsDowntown in your social media post, and then also tag Downtown Spokane, and then there's something in it for you, because at the end of today's program, we're going to give away a $250 gift card to River Park Square. That post will be randomly chosen. It should be someone in this room. It'd be really weird if someone outside of this room was using those hashtags and tags at the same time, but at the end of this, we'll randomly choose a post, and you'll win $250 to River Park Square, everyone. So let's take a moment to thank the supporters who make this program, like we're doing today, possible. Please join me in welcoming our champion sponsors, QTAC Rock, NAC Architecture, Umpqua Bank, Integris Architecture, and Kohl's Company. I know those guys. Yeah. And of course, thank you to our sponsors, the supporters, all the boosters, table sponsors that you see there on your table and on the screen and your programs everywhere. So, as we start the program, I want to invite Elizabeth Hooker up here to lead us in acknowledging the indigenous lands where we stand today.
Please look at the screen for the acknowledgement. We gather here on the traditional homelands of the 4 bands of Spokane Tribe of Indians, the Upper Band, Middle Band, Lower Band, and Chewelah Band. Since time immemorial, the Spokane Tribe of Indians has lived and cared for these grounds, identifying as flesh of the earth. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. We show gratitude to the land, river, and peoples who have been fishing, hunting, harvesting, and gathering here for generations. May we learn from one another's stories so that we may nurture the relationship of the people of the Spokane Tribe and to all who share this land.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. All right, please join me now in welcoming Christopher Varallo, board chair for the Downtown Spokane Partnership here, and partner of downtown-based law firm QTAC Rock. Christopher Varallo, everyone.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. It's great seeing all of you. As the 2024 chair of the DSP Board of Directors, it's my honor to be here this morning with more than 300 of our friends to celebrate the very important role that downtown Spokane has for our region. We are in this beautiful room, we're looking back on the people and the projects, and we're going to celebrate what we have done. Serving on the DSP board, I've been able to see firsthand how hard the DSP team works. 365 days a year, all year they don't get a day off. They're down here providing safe and clean services. They support businesses and promotions, and they support events, activities, and support and keep safe our public spaces. I know we're going to recognize them later, but I also always want to recognize all the DSP staff that are here, from Emily down to the Clean and Safe team and everybody else here that keeps us safe. Thank you from me personally, and I'm sure we'll thank you more later, but I do like to point that out, so thank you. We recognize that downtown is facing unprecedented challenges. You're going to hear that throughout the program today. The DSP is taking those issues head on. For every corner of our region to succeed, we need downtown to succeed. If you're blue, if you're red, if you're conservative, if you're moderate, if you're progressive, we all agree that downtown has to thrive for this region to thrive, and we all need to work together to make sure that happens. This morning's program should inspire and challenge each of us to consider how we are contributing to the future of our downtown. I'm thankful to serve on the DSP board with a dedicated group of leaders focused on downtown. I'd like to take a moment to recognize many of these board members who are here today. There should be a full list up there. Could I have the board members of the DSP stand up, please? Come on. Thank you all for your work, especially the executive committee too. If you didn't stand up, we were going to dock your pay, but I'm not sure how we do that since you don't get paid anything. I'd also like to recognize our elected officials here who all recognize the value of our downtown. I want to make sure I have the right list in front of me. Please hold your applause until we've been able to introduce all of them. I won't make you stand up, but you may want to stand up, that's fine. From the City of Spokane, Mayor Lisa Brown. We have Council President Betsy Wilkerson. Hello, Betsy. Spokane Council members Jonathan Bingle and Michael Cathcart. Thank you. From Spokane County, we have Commissioner Josh Kearns, Treasurer Michael Baumgartner, Assessor Tom Konis, and representing Sheriff John Knowles, Under Sheriff Michael Kittlestead. From the Washington State Legislature, Representative Leonard Christian. I believe Senate Majority Leader Andy Billig is here as well. And representing the office of Congresswoman Kathy McMorris Rogers, Christina Sebastinas. So I want to thank you all. I apologize if I miss anything. The failure is entirely mine. But thank you, and if everybody could just give a round of applause to our electeds for being here today. I would also be remiss if I did not thank Chief of Police Lundgren and Fire Chief Oberg for being here as well. So thank you for coming. Senator Billig, thank you for everything you've done to support this region, and in particular the downtown and the University District. We can see the results around us. Thank you for your service and constant efforts to champion Spokane and Olympia. Senator Billig, are you? Thank you very much. So, yeah, round of applause. Similarly, Congresswoman McMorris Rogers has been a tremendous advocate for this region. Christina, please share our gratitude. Thank you. Thank you. You have both left a legacy that will continue to ripple throughout Spokane for many years to come, so thank you for that. In closing my comments, I want to thank the staff of the PFD as well. This is a beautiful event center, from Stephanie down to everybody that worked on this. Thank you all for hosting us today, so thank you. And with that, I'm going to ask Corey to come back up and do a better job introducing Katie than I could. Thank you.
It was very good, Christopher. Thank you very much. Yeah, we will move right along. This is obviously a community filled with individuals, organizations that have left an impact. Nearly a decade ago, the DSP initiated recognition of these contributions with the launch of the annual Legacy Awards. So please join me in welcoming Katie Bruyere, Senior Vice President and Chief Human Resources Officer of Washington Trust Bank, to present the Downtown Spokane Partnership's 2024 Legacy Award.
Thanks, Corey, and good morning. Last year, Washington Trust Bank had the honor of receiving the Legacy Award, and now it's my honor to present the award to another organization that believes meaningful change is not accomplished overnight, but rather takes dedication, hard work, and leadership. The legacy of Nordstrom Spokane is a testament to the spirit of this award. In 1974, we all know that's 50 years ago, Nordstrom opened at River Park Square, becoming a cornerstone of Spokane's downtown revitalization and an anchor of retail in our community. Nordstrom is a destination that attracts visitors from around the region, and maybe several of us in this room, driving economic growth and enhancing the shopping experience in downtown Spokane. Over the last 50 years, Nordstrom has created more than 3,000 jobs and $50 million in wages. And each year, it generates more than $3 million in sales tax to our city's general fund. Nordstrom Spokane has made a remarkable impact on Spokane's history. Their presence here has spurred additional development and investment, making it a vital part of our downtown core. Let's take a look.
As the World's Fair planning was coming together, my uncle and my father were looking at downtown and what should happen here and convincing Nordstrom that, hey, the world is coming to Spokane, so expose them to the Nordstrom brand, and this would be a great way of expansion in the future. Here we are 50 years later, and Nordstrom is still in the heart of our city. So Nordstrom was concentrated on the west side, and we were the first store out of the Seattle area. And today, we're the smallest city where Nordstrom has a full-line store. Nordstrom's culture and ethics of how they do business is phenomenal. Their commitment to Spokane is greatly appreciated, and without it, our downtown would not be what it is. They're a draw. There's no question about it. I'm really thrilled that Nordstrom is getting this award. Thank you to the Nordstrom family and employees and shoppers for supporting the store.
How great is that? Did you hear? The smallest city that has a Nordstrom. Fun fact, don't order online, order from the store and have it shipped to you, because then the store gets credit. That's good for downtown Spokane. Accepting on behalf of Nordstrom is Wendy Gaucher, the Regional General Manager for our downtown store. Please join me in welcoming Wendy to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. It's truly an honor to receive this on behalf of Nordstrom. Maybe I'm going to hold. All right. Well, thank you. You covered a lot of the highlights and gave us a good shout out. Shopping online, pick up in store. We appreciate that. So as it's really evident, then Spokane has been here for the 50 years, opened the same year as the World's Fair. And we recently had both Pete and Eric Nordstrom, they're currently the great-grandsons of the original founder. They visited the store earlier this year, and both of them shared very fond memories of visiting the expo with their family, coming with their parents and having a great time when they were younger boys. They didn't like to admit how young they were when they came, but they remember it. And then 25 years, we did actually change locations. The store relocated to the River Park Square in 1999. That was a really big deal. We had employees that remember rolling racks of merchandise down the street in the middle of the night to make sure it was there for the opening. And we still have a few employees in the store now who were part of that relocation. Our longest veteran employee currently has been with the company 43 years. So come and see Shelley in Women's. So this 50th anniversary is a major milestone for both the city and for our business. And in April, we marked the occasion with a private shop party for our customers, very well attended. But it really reminded us just how much customers value having a Nordstrom store here in Spokane. We also expanded our presence in 2000 with adding a rack store. The store was originally located at the at the Northtown Mall, and then relocated to the Valley Plaza in 2010. As noted, Washington State is the home of Nordstrom. We've been operating in downtown Seattle for over 120 years. And as mentioned too, that Spokane was one of the earlier expansions before the company went nationwide in the late 70s. So retail has seen many changes and challenges over the years. But we continue to believe that by giving great service, making our customers feel good and look their best is the key to success. We have many loyal customers, and they give us lots of feedback, good and bad, tell us how we're doing. I'm going to share just a couple snippets of comments that I've received recently. A customer says, "We have shopped at Nordstrom Spokane since 1976. Always great service, and we love having lunch in the cafe when shopping at Nordstrom." Another customer says, "I appreciate having a local store. Linda in Shoes helps me with anything I need in the store, particularly at anniversary sale time. She's amazing." Side note, our anniversary sale is starting in a few weeks, so we'll see you there. And then with our 50th celebration event, a customer said it was a big 50th anniversary party at Nordstrom. Everyone was so helpful. I really love the store, and thank you for being in Spokane. I hear that a lot. Another saying, "We had a fantastic time at the 50th anniversary party. We would love to see more store events, and that's something we're committed to doing going forward." So it really is truly a privilege for us to be a part of this community. And I know how important it is to uphold a legacy that others built before us. We strive to gain the trust of every customer every day, and we look forward to continue to serve the customers of Spokane for many years to come. And thank you very much.
I like to say we're breakfast, lunch, and everything in between. We brunch hard. The House of Brunch, we just like to have a good time. We change our menu seasonally and do brunch in our own creative way, because brunch has to be fun. We wanted to make you feel when you walk into the restaurant that you're walking into an extension of your own home. And we wanted to really elevate the champagne list and have a full cafe, have a full bar, some elevated menu items, but we also wanted to do it in a totally relaxed, casual environment and just have totally chill vibes. I think we really captured it. It just brings an energy to the daytime dining experience. The people that work downtown, the people that will drive downtown, they appreciate it. It's a good match.
Sounds like we got food coming out, and that looked really delicious too. Okay. So as we look outside today, the ongoing celebrations, the legacy of Expo 74, it's truly incredible how the community has transformed, especially in downtown. Just on the walk over here from the station, just to look around on such a lovely day and see downtown looking as beautiful as it is. It's the heart of our city. It's an integral part of who we are. So it brings me great pleasure right now to introduce Emily Cameron, President and CEO of the Downtown Spokane Partnership, to share with us the state of downtown.
Thank you. I'll let you put that back. Thank you, Corey. You know, you really hit the nail on the head. When we look outside those windows today, it is so incredible to know that this is a one-of-a-kind convention center experience, and really this is a one-of-a-kind downtown experience. This is a truly special place, and it's not just because of the amazing park outside those windows. It is because of the businesses, the people, and the places that make this great. We've been recognized as one of the best places to live, work, and play on list after list after list. And you know what nearly every single one of these accolades have in common? Pictures of downtown on every single one. There is a reason why downtown is synonymous with Spokane. This morning, I'm going to be a little aspirational. I'm going to talk about some highlights, and I'm going to get us excited about downtown again. We have the third largest urban waterfall surrounded by 100 acres of meticulously maintained park. We have activity bordering both sides of the river now, from shopping, dining, and world-class venues, alongside public art, cultural institutions, and performances in these facilities that rival any major city. Let's also not forget we have headquarters in the iconic buildings who define our skyline. This is our downtown. And while it's only 1% of the city's total landmass, it is home to $1.5 billion in property value. It is where 17% of our city's taxable sales are generated and 15% of our city's workforce is employed. This is a top destination for visitors to our region, with nearly 40% of all of the county's hotel rooms right here in downtown. And we now have daily rates that exceed pre-pandemic levels. People are coming to Spokane for conventions, for leisure, for fun, and they're coming to the largest venue, which is our downtown. We're home to legacy events, St. Patrick's Day Parade, Bloomsday, the Lilac Festival, Bazaar, Hoop Fest, and so many others, including this September, the return of the Volume Festival in downtown. I'm very excited about that one. This is also a gathering place, though, and it's a place for our region to come together and honor our diversity. And I want to take a moment here and address the hate-fueled vandalism and threats we've seen in our city. There is no place for hate in downtown. This is a place where everyone is welcome and every single person belongs. This is where we host unity in the community. This is where we march on MLK Jr. Day, and it's where we celebrate pride. Spokane's identity is fundamentally intertwined with the people and places in downtown. It's actually where a first-of-its-kind partnership between Spokane Public Schools and the PFD created a facility that's now a destination for high school sports fans, professional soccer, and coming this August, comedy festivals with global headliners selling out crowds in arenas across the world. One Spokane Stadium is truly an epicenter when we think about entertainment and recreation, and next to the podium, the arena, the park, the convention center, and nearly a dozen other venues nearby, it is now easier than ever to access these locations from every direction. We have new connections on both sides of the river, from the recently completed Post Street Bridge to STA's North Bank Downtown Shuttle, and City Line, which in its first 9 months already has seen more than 500,000 rides. These connections are especially important when we consider how we stack up in comparison to other cities and other downtowns. This year, 20% of commercial mortgages are maturing nationally. In Spokane, lease terms are too, and I'm going to level with you, we are in a fragile place. Office vacancy is now up to 20% in downtown. That is 5% higher than the region on average. And we're not alone. Every city, every downtown is in a time of transition, and it is very hard to look beyond this immediate challenge. But we cannot lose sight that downtown is still an attractive place to work. This is where we foster the intersection of innovation, ingenuity, and ideas. And with traditional offices that are now ecosystems transforming into flexible, creative workspaces, we can also be destinations. Employers like HMA and Kaufman Engineers and others are creating these spaces that are incredible opportunities for their employees to thrive. We have property owners like Kohl's and Rencor, as well as many others, who are looking at what are the amenities that their tenants want and where their employees are happy. It's working, and we are now seeing employees want to be a part of these spaces. Midweek foot traffic is now 70% of pre-pandemic levels. That's higher than 2023, and it continues to grow month after month. And I want to acknowledge Mayor Brown and the city and their commitment in bringing city employees back downtown. Public service done in public is good for government, it's good for downtown, and it is good for all of us. As we deepen our connections to the University District, division should no longer separate downtown and the growing academic and research opportunities to our east. We are an extension of an urban campus, and we can be a hub for students and faculty. When we evolve from a place where we have to be to a place where we want to be, we will retain our talent, our young professionals, our industries, and our jobs. And I want to acknowledge and thank our partners here today from GSI, BOMA, Visit Spokane, the Valley Chamber, and others. Your collaboration is crucial when we think about a healthy economic climate in Spokane. We need this intentional focus. Our city and our region depend on the tax revenue we generate. But retail vacancy is also higher in downtown today than the region on average. Our 3-year positive trend of more new businesses opening than closing is at risk. We should all be concerned about the reasons why, but we also have to remember, as you heard earlier, we boast some of the best retail between Seattle and Minneapolis, and let me tell you, you will not find a Lego and you will not find Nike in downtown Seattle. Successful cities turn deficits into assets. Last year, the DSP partnered with BECU Philanthropy to award $30,000 in grants to downtown businesses to improve and repair their storefronts. I'm thrilled that we're partnering with BECU again this year for a second round of funding, and grants open today with applications with an expanded focus on the 3 Ps: patios, parklets, and people. By activating downtown, we're investing in our city. We're creating more than a central business district, we are creating a central experience district and a place where people can call home. Fortunately, as you all see in the development maps in your magazines, there are several new promising projects planned and opportunities to live in downtown. From the Warren to the Peyton Building, Lolo Lofts, the Falls and Link Lofts on the North Bank, Causes Project on 4th Avenue, there are so many projects and it's good. There's a need and there's a demand. But workforce and missing middle is particularly missing in our downtown. This is why we sought funding from City Council just last week in order to initiate a downtown housing study, and I am happy to share it was approved on Monday. Thank you, Councilmember Cathcart, Bingle, Council President Wilkerson, thank you. Residents add vitality. I know we have Senator Billig here today as well, and thank you to all of the Spokane delegation in supporting SB 6175. This was a priority of the DSP this year. Reducing barriers and converting underutilized commercial buildings into housing is key in our future. We hope to further expand the eligibility of the project in the next session, and we're working with the city right now. Thank you, Steve McDonald and your team. We will make this happen in Spokane. As we continue to focus on housing, we need to ask ourselves, though, what is it going to take to get 1,000 new units in downtown over the next 5 years? It means we have to recognize our opportunities, but we also have to double down on the issues that matter most to our community. To be relevant, downtown has to be a place where people, our people, want to be. Last year, 94% of respondents in our community-wide survey across Spokane emphasized the importance of safety and cleanliness. The perception of downtown is critical, and today it needs to be better. The reality is very different in Spokane, and while we've made progress in reducing violent crime and property crime and countywide unsheltered homeless counts may be decreasing, that is not the story in downtown. There is no masking the visible misery and suffering we see at the gateways of our city. The impact of drugs in our community is affecting the most vulnerable, and it is draining our response system. Today, an overwhelming majority of overdoses are happening on the streets of downtowns in the cities across our state. Excuse me. Washington now leads the nation in fatal fentanyl overdoses. And in Spokane, as we've heard recently, calls are now up 30%, most in downtown. These challenges are devastating, and a vibrant, healthy downtown cannot be achieved when we are consumed by these extreme conditions. In your program, there's a QR code to DSP's platform. It outlines the policies we need every single person in this room to get behind. We know Spokane can't do this alone. We need regional cooperation to align data, funding, services, and commitments around homelessness. And it's time to end the concentration of shelters and services in downtown. We need to confront and treat mental illness and substance use with the expansion of our behavioral health system, and we need to comprehensively address chronic high-impact offenders. They have to be held accountable for the disproportionate impact in our community. We also need to finally address necessary jail capacity and reestablish expectations for our laws to be enforced, but it is most important that we support investment in the policies that will restore our city. We need everyone to be healthy, everyone to thrive. We want downtown to succeed. Let's take a look at what's being done in this video.
Crime in downtown Spokane is certainly not a new issue.
Well, news tonight, Spokane police say a man went on a property crime spree.
You can talk to 2 different people. Somebody will tell you they don't feel safe coming downtown. And then you could talk to somebody and they'll say, oh, I bring my kids down all the time and I feel very safe walking through the parks and coming downtown.
With all of us working together, we can help improve the downtown district. The clean team works 7 days a week, so we have coverage every single day, and the ambassador team also works 7 days a week. These teams are very helpful in making sure that visitors and guests, as well as employees and residents of the downtown area, can walk the streets, go visit businesses, and addressing the challenges that we have here in downtown. It's a collaborative effort with Spokane Police Department, Spokane Fire Department, Volunteers of America.
We're different in the downtown area in that we've got the ability to ride bikes on a daily basis. We've got an ATV that we ride around in, and we also have our behavioral health unit. So we've got clinicians that ride with our folks.
We work with clinicians that come out with our officers to respond to people who are in crisis. Our officers are really invested in the community and the people who live in the community, and they want to help them. They want to make a difference in their life. It's not about looking for a crime, taking them to jail. It's getting them to that point where they're self-sustaining and can live their best life.
We've got to have those partners in our community.
Our mission is just to kind of end homelessness. That's a kind of a lofty goal. We focus on housing solutions, and we are a behavioral health organization on top of that. There's a program for everyone. We have shelters, we have our in-reach team, we have our outreach teams, transitional housing teams, we have housing navigators. I think it's important because it's necessary and it's not going to go away unless we help. We want the entire Spokane community to thrive.
We get tons of feedback, from little kids all the way up to adults. Beautiful downtown, just cleanest city they've seen, and that means a lot.
Downtown needs to be safe, and people need to feel safe coming to downtown, and we're out here every day trying to make that happen.
Can we hear it for the, thank you. Thank you. I know we have several members of our DSP Clean and Safe teams, as well as Captain Wall with the Downtown Precinct. Thank you for everything that you do. The downtown bid invests more than $1 million annually in clean and safe programs and services, and we're looking forward to putting this expertise to work with the additional funds approved by City Council to further support clean and safe efforts across downtown very soon. So I've talked about a lot this morning. I talked about some highlights, talked about some opportunities. We do have challenges in front of us, but as we commemorate the anniversary of Expo 74, let's remember the leaders who came together across the private, public, and nonprofit sectors to chase the dream of bringing the World's Fair to a small town in eastern Washington. Their perseverance, their tenacity, the cooperation, and the vision forever changed the trajectory of our downtown and our region. It is time to come together again in order to restore and reinvigorate our downtown for the future. When we work together, the best is yet to come. Spokane is downtown, and I look forward to working with you to make that a reality. Thank you. Surprise, I'm back. I now have the honor of introducing Mayor Lisa Brown. 6 months ago, she became the 5th woman to hold the office. Mayor Brown entered with a long to-do list and downtown at the top. She appreciates that a thriving downtown requires strong public-private partnerships, and as a member of the DSP Board of Directors, she is keenly aware of the many challenges that we've discussed this morning. Recently, Mayor Brown led the city's unique agreement with WashDOT and Commerce to tap into new state funds to address encampments along the Division Corridor, expand deployment teams, and commit to improved outcomes. Mayor Brown also shares in our excitement for an activated downtown with vibrant new amenities and housing that we all know is critical. It is my honor to now introduce Mayor Lisa Brown for her first State of Downtown mayoral message. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you. It's really exciting to be here. A couple of messages. Happy last day of school for the parents of School District Spokane Schools. Happy Street Music Week. Everybody knows I'm a big music fan, so it's one of my favorite weeks of the year. And congratulations to Nordstrom. I believe I personally have helped over the decades I've been in Spokane, and sometimes I question how happy I am whether or not that City Hall is right across the street from Nordstrom. First of all, I don't have to tell you about the fundamentals of this downtown in the city. It's already been stated, but it's obvious just looking out the window. It's really an unprecedented natural beauty that we have joined to our downtown, and fundamentally fantastic architecture and opportunities. So you know all of that. It's been enriched by investments that have been made over the years, the commitment of this community to its parks, and the celebration of Expo 74. It's already been mentioned, but if you haven't gone on the new connection across the suspension bridge in Riverfront Park, please do that. The Post Street Bridge is awesome, and the Great Gorge Trail Loop is now completed. And take that trip as well on both sides of the river, under the Monroe Street Bridge on both sides. It's really something that sets our city apart. Now, at the same time, before I get to some of the challenges, I just want to say there are a few things going on that may be difficult to see, but I just really want to highlight them. The partnership and cooperation between the city of Spokane and Downtown Spokane Partnership is very, very strong. We are in constant communication and across a wide level of leadership in the city. I really appreciate Emily and the board and the working relationship that we have and the initiatives that we have underway. Just to highlight a few of the things on the city side, you already heard in the video from Captain Wall, but I want to acknowledge both him and Chief Lundgren in terms, and our code enforcement leader, Luis Garcia, coming together, creating another hot team of clean and safe, partnered with law enforcement to work with Downtown Spokane Partnership's clean team. Cooperation between parks, thank you Garrett, Jason, and again Chief Lundgren, working together for a limited commission for park officers to help improve the ability to respond to incidents in Riverfront Park. The City Council has been a great partner and recently approved additional resources championed by Councilmember Bingle to expand our clean and safe work for the rest of the year using those federal recovery dollars. The cooperation between the administration and City Council is also very positive for our city, and we are taking on the challenges together. The council unanimously approved my emergency order on the opioid fentanyl crisis. And what that emergency order allows us to do is to tap in more quickly and move more quickly, because government processes don't typically move very fast, to first of all, contract with Empire Health Foundation, operating our Cannon Street facility as a transition center for people we are relocating from the Division Street corridor through the right-of-way encampment resolution program with funding from the state. We've signed a contract with Consistent Care, utilizing opioid settlement dollars for the High Utilizer Initiative. These are the people who cycle between the streets and the emergency room, or the streets and our jail, and disrupting that cycle and concentrating on those individuals to bring them off of the cycle and the streets. The expansion of our partnership with nonprofit providers, and in particular Spokane Treatment and Recovery Services, to utilize their CAR 50 program and provide transport for people under the influence of substance to an appropriate medical or treatment facility. And finally, working with state and federal partners to disrupt the drug market and those preying on the streets of Spokane, our most vulnerable individuals. I want to give a special shout out to Council President Wilkerson and the City Council members that are here, because we are also working together to take on improved fiscal stability for our city. 1 year ago at this time, the city at its mid-year budget review was $9 million over its budget. Yesterday we met together and pleased to announce that we are $500,000 under the budget passed. That means that we can better take on the structural deficit that we face, and we are doing that in partnership with each other. Thank you, City Council. In addition to that partnership, I'm excited about what Emily mentioned as a key initiative we can work on together, and that is housing and housing downtown. Some of the groundwork was already laid last year by the administration and city council when they passed zoning that really allows us to move forward in a very rapid way with fewer obstacles for housing development. As I said in my state of the city, we have headwinds of inflation and interest rates and high vacancy rates in our offices downtown, but we also have opportunities. The incentives passed by the legislature, both to convert surface parking lots to housing and to convert office building to housing, are very good opportunities for us. I'm introducing this week the resolution for City Council to help move that process forward with the bill that Emily mentioned, and Senator Billig is already working with the state to get the rules in place so that we can get those incentives activated. And we have developers who've already come to talk with Steve and Spencer and Tammy and the team, and they're ready to go with new housing downtown. So by this time next year, I hope to be able to state some really exciting news about the number of units that we'll have underway to get to that 1,000 unit downtown housing moonshot that Chris Batten and others have talked about. Let's give a hand to everybody who's working hard in the face of those headwinds to create more housing downtown. Finally, events and activation. We are great partners on that. There's so much to talk about there, whether it's Juneteenth activities, the community stage at Riverfront Park, my son is playing there, whether it's Hoop Fest, which is coming back better than ever. The sister cities are all coming together in a Expo 74 celebration that will be very exciting next weekend. And one of my personal favorites, professional soccer velocity, and August 17th, women's soccer in Spokane as Zephyr has their opening match. So plenty of challenges, but the good news is partnership and working together to take them on, and we're taking them on in an all-of-the-above approach. And I just want to close with a special thank you to the members of my team that are here today. And we are in the process of selecting a new police chief for Spokane, and you will hear about the finalists in the next week or so. And so could we take this opportunity to thank Chief Justin Lundberg for his amazing work stepping in the first 6 months of my administration, taking on these challenges. Thank you. Spokane is a fantastic city. I knew it when I first came here, and I've never looked back. And we know that whether you're coming from, whether you grew up here multiple generations, whether your ancestors lived here and gathered by the river, whether you are a new immigrant from Ukraine, or whether you are someone like me who stumbled here because of a boyfriend and never left. Spokane is a great place. As the city council has decreed in Spokane, we all belong, and better starts here. Thank you.
We're in the Parkade Plaza. It's a perfectly round building, and as a result, seemed like a great spot for a record store. Entropy is a record and vintage store on the main floor, and upstairs is an art gallery. We're really trying to just have a curated experience with like the best classic records that we can find. As far as our gallery goes, it's purely artist-driven and purely for the artists. Whatever they sell in our gallery, they get to keep 100% of the funds. Working in the downtown area, we've met lots of great people that come in, and just developing those relationships with people who are living and working downtown has been really great.
I love that record store. Thank you, Mayor Brown. You know, there are so many new businesses and projects that we need to explore in downtown. I need to explore. I just kind of stumbled into that one the other day, but very, very cool. It's inspiring to see the impact that they have, the contributions to building a stronger downtown neighborhood. Every day, I know one recent project in particular that's transforming how people live in downtown, so please welcome to the stage right now Ashley Blake, CEO of Spokane Sports, Stephanie Curran, CEO of Spokane Public Facilities District, to the stage. Last year, Ashley and Stephanie accepted the Downtown Spokane Partnership's Impact Award for the Podium, a true example that if you build it, they will come. The podium, it's really cool. Just I took my kids to that Ice Age park, and then suddenly you see like the badminton team from Switzerland walk by, and you're like, what are you guys doing? This is fun. So yeah, the podium has welcomed national, international competitions, future champions, concerts, community events. The calendar looks like we can expect a whole lot more from the podium. So please give a warm welcome right now to Ashley Blake and Stephanie Curran to present 2024 Impact Award.
As you've heard a lot this morning, it takes great vision to see the potential in what does not yet exist. Simply put, before you can have a legacy, you must make an impact. Recipients of the Impact Award have revolutionized our downtown and have brought innovation to life through unique partnerships and projects, often providing solutions we didn't realize we needed.
This year, we are excited to pass on the honor of the Impact Award to The Warren. The Warren is an exciting new housing project at Brown and Riverside in downtown Spokane, offering modern living space that blends contemporary design with urban convenience. Located in the heart of the city, The Warren provides residents with easy access to local amenities, vibrant cultural attractions, and a thriving business district. Pretty incredible to think that prior this was the site of a small drive-through bank. The pandemic changed the trajectory of downtown, highlighting the need for more new housing in our downtown core. Fortunately, the Warren was already under development. More than just 139 new places to call home, the Warren has added a type of housing that is contributing to the revitalization of downtown Spokane.
Having residents downtown and more people is critical. New buildings is really somebody that's saying, hey, I'm coming to this market, I'm willing to build a brand new building. That's key.
The Warren is located in downtown. We're on Brown and Riverside, and honestly, it's a great place to live. So we have 139 units. We try to keep it very community-based, trying to keep that urban aspect as well, too.
This corner is an important one. This is an entryway into the UD and from the UD into downtown.
I've seen graduate students, I've seen business personnel, I've seen just a wide variety of people. This kind of fosters that ability to be able to go walk to all these different shops.
I thank and congratulate the Edlin Group for bringing the Warren to Spokane, and we look forward to working with the Edlin Group and other developers for projects like this in other parts of downtown.
So we're excited to welcome Matt Edlin with Edlin Co. to the stage to accept the 2024 Downtown Spokane Partnership Impact Award.
Congratulations. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Do I say something?
Corey?
Sure. I can't. I didn't plan for that, so but that's okay. Because it's pretty easy to talk about Spokane after all of this. I know a good chunk of these folks, Mayor Brown. I did meet your son yesterday. He was down in his studio. He was picking away with Sheldon and I were walking down there. It was very cool to meet him. Many of you don't probably recognize me at all. I'm not from here. I'm from Portland, Oregon, and our company, Edlin & Company, formerly Girding Edlin, we've had the privilege of building in cities across the country. Cities big, cities small. Cities like Boston and Chicago. Cities like Boise and Bend. And the through line with all of these investments and projects that we've made is really communities that we feel very deeply connected to, communities that inspire us, communities that are vibrant and committed. And when we came to Spokane, I mean, it was overwhelming. It was overwhelming walking the streets and getting to know folks who were unafraid to say, let's go further. Let's work together. I've never met a city that is this collaborative, that looks each other in the eye and says, why not? It is truly remarkable. Even from the time when we sat down and started to concept out this project, which most folks in my world, when you're sitting down with the city and going through design review processes and all these things, the first thing you're like, oh God, what are we gonna get today? But we didn't get that at all. In fact, it was a process where every single person on the team, we all got on the phone afterwards, we were like, holy, I think the project just got better. Like, the most divisive conversation we had was making sure that the native street trees were of a certain variety and a certain size. And we're like, wow, that's not what you get. And then going through the process of working with the city, working with planners, working with the university district, working in collaboration, the project just got better and better and better, and bringing on partners like our friends at the wood shop who do incredible branding work, working with the folks over at Terrain in working with our art program. It was so evident that you walk in the room, you don't know me from Adam, and I want to say, hey, let's try something new. And the first response isn't, why? Or who are you? Or sorry, I'm good. The first thing is, heck yeah, let's roll our sleeves up and figure it out. That's what the city does. And as we talk about the promise and the growth and all the opportunities of where it can go, that's the kind of spirit that makes folks like us want to be here, not just to do a project, but to really deeply ingratiate ourselves in the roots of the city. So I just want to say thank you. This is truly humbling on behalf of my partners, our firm, and all of the teams of folks working on the project, working from the city, working from the community to make it what it is. So thank you very much.
Our downtown is so beautiful. There's a ton of history here. We have remarkable architecture and art installation. There's a lot to talk about in a very small amount of space. That pretty much puts Spokane on the map. I'm just happy to be a cheerleader for how amazing Spokane is.
I'm getting so excited when there's something that you don't know. Locals specifically will be like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. That makes me so happy. It's almost like watching someone fall in love with their city for the first time. We want you to fall in love with Spokane, experience Spokane, and be here.
Wow, Matt, for an impromptu speech, I'm ready to run through a wall right now. Kurt Russell is Herb Brooks, and then Matt Edlin accepting the Warren Award. Those are your great speeches there. Just a reminder, too, there's a $250 gift card to River Park Square up for grabs if you take a picture of social media, use the hashtag Spokane is downtown, and then tag downtown Spokane as well. I don't think I'm eligible, but maybe I'll start posting some. I don't know, because I didn't see any, so get to it, people. All right, so there are a lot of good things to do and see in downtown Spokane. How do we keep that list growing? Well, I have a feeling our keynote speaker this morning is going to have a few ideas. Carol Ross Barney has left an indelible mark on cities across the country in her profession and her passion, urban design. As a vanguard of civic space design since founding Chicago-based Ross Barney Architects in 1981, Carol has designed spaces that manifest into spaces that enrich the urban experience, buildings that are environmental stewards, and spaces that inspire young, curious minds to innovate and invent. And Carol designed spaces that simply make people feel good. Her motto, design is everything, and everything can be better. So those are words to live by when thinking about urban revitalization. The recipient of the American Institute of Architects' highest honor, the Gold Medal in 2023, and just back from Washington, D.C., where she keynoted the AIA National Conference. Carol has made it here today to Spokane to inspire us to blaze new trails as we consider the future of Spokane. I had an opportunity to chat with her before the program. I'm very excited to hear her speak. So, ladies and gentlemen, Carol Ross Barney.
Thanks, Corey. And thank you for inviting me to your beautiful city. I've been to Spokane a few times before. It's been over decades, though. And the little film this morning that showed the rail yards before the fair was built is just amazing. Those people had so much vision. Can you imagine how crazy people thought they were inviting everybody to Eastern Washington, the whole world? And in the end, it didn't really matter if those people came and remembered Spokane. Their real legacy is what they left for the city. And I think that's really important because cities are our future. This is my city. In fact, this is Chicago on the cover of National Geographic. It's July 2013, the Windy City, the city of big shoulders, birthplace of modern architecture. And another nickname Chicago had, especially in 1900, was the city of the century. And this photograph was taken by one of the greatest film directors of all time, Stanley Kubrick. He started as a staff photographer for Look magazine, and they sent him to Chicago where he had the job of documenting Chicago, the glamour and the grit. It was called the City of Extremes. At that point, Chicago's population was 3.6 million. It was the largest the city would ever be. That same year, about 29% of the world's population lived in cities. 50 years earlier, Chicago had passed about 2 million in population, and only 14% of people lived in cities across the world. And this is really interesting. It sort of shows how the country's changed, how the world's changed. Chicago at that point was the 5th largest city in the world. The only cities that were bigger were London, New York, Paris, and Berlin. Even more amazing, Chicago 60 years before that, in 1840, had less than 5,000 people. And I'm not telling you this because Chicago is such a great city, although it is my home and I love it, I think it's beautiful. But I'm telling you that because I think Chicago is kind of the poster child for the importance of cities in our century. The need for planning our cities and be really concerned about the future of cities. In 1909, Chicago published the first comprehensive plan for the controlled growth of an American city. This is one picture from it. It actually was written by an architect. That's kind of cool, Daniel Burnham. And the purpose was to make beauty, but to promote harmony and social order. Right now, in 2000, 50% of the world's population lived in cities. We passed that mark in 2000. Today, we're up to about 4.4 billion people living in cities, and that's not going to stop. By 2050, people are predicting that 7 out of 10, 70% of people will live in cities. And this is really important because that's where we're good. I mean, you may, and when I'm talking about cities, I'm talking about cities, especially the mid-sized cities like Spokane. Cities are our energy centers, they're our knowledge centers. They're diverse, they're dense. Phil Enquist, who was the chief planner at Skidmore, Owings & Merrill, an architecture company, characterized cities as the power of the future. He said that the 19th century, for example, was all the power was in empires. And that in the 20th century, countries and governments became powerful. But the 21st century will be the century of cities because of the economic power, because we're creative in cities. When we live together, we're at our best. But while cities are highly productive, they're also one of the biggest contributors to the existential challenge of our times. Basically, we are creating potentially mortal damage to our planet. So cities need to be rebuilt. They need to be rebuilt for, in my studio, we're calling it radical sustainability. And these solutions are small solutions, and they're also really big ideas. And the menu that you've been presented this morning for Spokane, those are the right menu items, but what I'm going to urge is that we think of every single one of those through the lens of sustainability, basically for the lens of making the planet healthier. So the radically sustainable city, first of all, it has to be safe. I showed you that picture of Chicago. It looked really beautiful. I'm sure some of you have flown into O'Hare, and it was just like this carpet of gold below you and It's so beautiful. Actually, that photo was on the cover of National Geographic because it was a story about light pollution. That same year, 2013, the story said that the World Health Organization had identified light pollution as a possible carcinogen. We need to rebuild our cities so that they are healthy. And Chicago, I'm going to show you some of our work, but these are potential solutions. They're little pieces, and you need to take the little pieces and work them into your own projects and your own initiatives. So I showed you Chicago. Noise pollution is another problem in cities, and this is the Eisenhower Expressway in Chicago, and the planning was totally brilliant. It's a major highway, and they left space down the middle for the CTA. Transportation is essential to cities. We've been talking about parking lots a lot since I've been here in Spokane. And parking lots are the issue in a way, but the real issue is our cities have to be accessible. You wouldn't have parking lots or you would have full parking lots or different parking lots, but they need to be accessible. So this was a brilliant idea. But when you stand on the platforms to take the CTA in the middle of that highway, the noise pollution is at 90 decibels. That's higher than what OSHA allows a workplace to be. So basically, I guess commuting is unhealthy. But those problems can be solved by simple solutions. Sometimes they're really small solutions, material solutions, little planning solutions. This is a little intervention that we designed for the Eisenhower, and we used a new material. It's catalytic precast concrete. It's not new because I know the Romans used concrete, so that's a little overstep, but it hadn't been used in Chicago. And by using this as a modern material, it cleans itself. It also creates an acoustic barrier because the most effective way to stop noise is mass concrete. And we provided weather protection and daylight. So it's solving these little problems together in an integrated fashion that will make our cities great. And they're really small and they're really large issues. The radically sustainable city has to be also resilient. And sustainable buildings and infrastructure are part of the resiliency. It's part of making them resilient. The basic definition of resiliency is maintaining livability in changing or deteriorated conditions. Basically, it's protecting the city. Outside of, a great magic dome, we have to do that for individual buildings, for small buildings, and for big projects. Like these. What's smaller than a hamburger stand? These are McDonald's. This is the Chicago flagship, and then the one next to it is a flagship that we did at Lake Buena Vista at Disney World. What's really interesting, though, is these buildings actually are part of the resiliency of the city. The one in Chicago is a U.S. Green Building certified platinum building, and the one in Florida, the one at Disney World, is actually a net zero living building challenge certified building. So even small projects can be ultra sustainable. By the way, I have to compliment McDonald's, and I also have to mention, I'm not talking architects here. I'm talking to everybody. We couldn't do this project without McDonald's. Their commitment to sustainability and to our future is as important as any designers. And it's not just one initiative either. This is kind of like a menu of all the small things we did to make this building sustainable. For example, the site is totally permeable, so it retains stormwater. The most sustainable building is the one you don't build. The second most sustainable building is the one you recycle. So this building we recycled basically the core of the kitchen. This particular building, we wanted to create urban shade, and we did it by creating a solar pergola. The pergola has about 1,000 photovoltaic panels on it. Even in Chicago, we're not known for our sunshine, although we have days of sun. Actually, the Windy City is a misnomer too, but I'm not going to tell you that story now. It was because the people in Chicago were braggarts, and so Cleveland paper called us that Windy City, and everybody thinks it's because of the wind. It's actually, we're just normal on wind. and we have limited sun too. But in any case, this solar pergola generates 60% of the energy the building uses in Chicago. The materials we used here, well, it's a wood structure. In fact, it's the first heavy timber CLT commercial building in Chicago. Building codes are changing to permit that. It's an old technology with a new future. The reason you use it, low embodied carbon. Carbon is our enemy. It's eroding the protection that our atmosphere creates. This building also used carbon cure cement. Basically, when the concrete is made, they sequester carbon dioxide in it. So this building saved about 30,000 pounds of carbon. So operational carbon is important, embodied carbon is important. And, I think, again, architects need partners. People seem to think that all we do is make things beautiful, but that's not the main reason for doing architecture or buildings. If they are sustainable, if they're economic, if they're buildable, if they're sensible, they will be beautiful. I teach at IIT, and the dean did this drawing for me to show me, even though I'm not a classicist, it's beautiful. And not just little projects, big projects. We worked for 16 years on changing the Chicago River banks to the Riverwalk project. And this project adds resiliency at a city scale. The project is about 1.5 miles long. If you've been to Chicago, it's right downtown. Before that, it was like the most desolate, disregarded place in a major city, I think a major American city. It's 10 blocks long, 45 feet wide. It was constructed between 2005 and 2016. And the city invested about $200 million in the project. And that's, for a city the size of Chicago, that's a very, very small investment. We're working on the rebuilding O'Hare, for example, now. That's a $4 billion project. We put a lot of money and effort into infrastructure, but this relatively small project made massive change to a city. It changed the image, it changed economy, it changed the perception of Chicago for both Chicagoans and visitors. And it also turned Chicago into a more sustainable city, basically by unseen things. So here's a beautiful, one of the major blocks on the Riverwalk is this beautiful stair that goes from the street, Wacker Drive, down to the river. But what's underneath it is equally important. Underneath it, we collect stormwater, and then we use the stormwater to water the trees and the other plants on the Riverwalk. Here's another block. This block is called the Jetty. It has a really wonderful garden of floating plants, and that's great. But underneath there, we have one of the world's most successful fish hotels. The Chicago River is channelized, there's no habitat left. And so this improvement gave us a chance to create a habitat for fish. We did it by putting basically hulus, they're called. They give them places to hide, places to live. It restores a habitat that we've destroyed. And then the plants actually, the little crustaceans that live in the plants of water plants, that's fish food. It's stocked by the Illinois Department of Natural Resources, and I took that picture. That girls pulled a 2.5-pound cat out of the river. So people are fishing in the Chicago River. So we're celebrating on all levels here, and they're all about sustainability in a way, sustaining our cities. Chicago, the river also plays like the Spokane River, plays an important part in storm water management. In fact, a few days after the Riverwalk opened, this happened. I got a call from the chief critic of architecture critic at the Tribune, Blair Kamen, and he said, "Is that a design error?" Usually architects don't make design errors this big, but no, it's not. The river has, as an integral part of the stormwater system, when we have a rain event, a 100-year storm, additional 7 feet of water is stored in the river. So the design takes that into account. So here's an amenity that also supplements and serves a bigger purpose for the sustainable city, for the city resiliency. And if a city is going to be radically sustainable, the other thing that we believe it has to be is inclusive. It's critical that cities are livable, that they are just, that they're equitable. We're working on a project now that I'm really excited about because, in a way, it's my chance to talk with people about the idea of a just and equitable city. We're doing a park that it's at the where the river meets the lake, and right there, that little site in the middle, you can see it. That is the site of our new park. It is dedicated to Jean Baptiste Pont du Sable, who was the first non-Indigenous person to live in Chicago. And we were asked to do a installation on the site for the Chicago Architectural Biennial. So we made this cube that's lit up at night. It's 20 feet by 40 feet, which, by the way, was the size of Du Sable's house. And on one side, we printed the question, sort of a critical question for this park is, who was Du Sable? And it turns out we don't really know much about Du Sable, but what we know is really important because I think it points to what makes cities great and what are the essential characteristics that people living together have to look for in their society. So Du Sable, there are no records of Du Sable's life prior to 1770 when he arrived in Chicago. We think he was born in Haiti. People believe that he was the son of a Frenchman and an enslaved Haitian woman. So he was, by the terms of the time, a black man. He married, we do know this because we have his marriage certificate. He married Potawatomi, Kirihawa, and he arrived in Chicago in about 1790. He was only there for about 10 years, but he amassed such wealth in Chicago, trading, basically being the conduit between the people who live there, the Potawatomi, and the people who are moving there, that when he sold his estate, it was worth 6,000 pounds, which is about $1.5 million. So this was a rich man. And he did it by being diplomatic, by being a trader and exchanging. And so our park will celebrate that. This shows one of the things we're making. We're making almost like a stencil of his house. And then we're writing, in the stencil, you'll see the things that he had like 40 chickens he sold for that $1.5 million and that sort of thing. It'll also celebrate Chicago's traditional landscape. But the other thing that we hope it celebrates, bringing people together to see their city. On the other side of that cube, we wrote, "Who found Chicago?" And I got calls after it was lit up and people went to see it. They said, "Oh, Carol, you mean who founded Chicago?" I don't mean who founded Chicago. I mean who found Chicago. Du Sable found Chicago. The Anishinaabe, the Potawatomi, found Chicago. In fact, they found it 800 years before Du Sable. My grandmother in 1912 found Chicago. She had arrived at Ellis Island. She had $25. That was a law requirement by law. And she had an address of a person in Chicago. She was coming from Galicia, from Krakow in Poland. It was the absolutely poorest place in Europe at that point. She found Chicago. Everybody's story about finding their city is different. I've enjoyed the stories this morning immensely. But when we recognize those stories, when we make great public spaces to come together in, it'll make it a lot easier to work together, to go forward together, and to make a great city. And making a great city it's imperative. I mean, this is really, this is a watershed moment, and it will require everybody's recognition and participation and commitment that it's safe, resilient, inclusive, radically sustainable. And the good news is because we're here today, we're the people who are going to choose that future. So I've really enjoyed listening to your stories about Spokane. I think you're on a great path. Thank you very much for inviting me here, and I look forward to facing the future with you.
Carol, thank you so much. I'm Carol from the normal amount of Wind City. Appreciate that. I'm going to be down at City Council Monday saying we need fish hotels, everybody. I believe Emily's supposed to be joining me up here. Do you care to? You don't have to. That's just what it says. But we do have a gift card winner. But yeah, before we go, we want to thank today's sponsors, our champion sponsors, QTAC Rock, NAC Architecture, Umpqua Bank, Integris Architecture, and the Kohl's Company. Do you want me to keep going?
You don't have a mic anymore, so you have to
You had one of those fancy mics. Do you want this one?
Sure. All right. Let's also thank you to all of our supporters and our booster tables. You see them on the screen. Thank you. And I also want to recognize we have a special group of supporters who all year long make sure that the work of the DSP is supported. And so we have our benefactor members here today with Avista, BNSF, the Kohl's Company, Davenport Hotels, Rencor Realty, and Washington Trust Bank. Thank you for your support. I hear someone wants to be a winner. So I think it's time to find out who has shared today's conversation and win a gift card to River Park Square.
$250 gift card to River Park Square goes to Henry Walker. Henry, are you around? Is that you over there? All right. You can stop by the registration table on your way out, and they'll hook you up with that. So if you think you can top Matt, then yeah, come on up, man. I did hear Emily issue a challenge to you all this morning. What are you going to do to contribute to a better city? And after sitting through this program, I really look forward to seeing everything that gets accomplished here in downtown Spokane. So thank you so much for being here today, and we'll see you soon, and have a great weekend, everyone.
I hear there may still be a mimosa for those of you who really want to enjoy your Friday morning. Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend.